Hello, my name's Rupert. I've been teaching English for 25 years and I'm going to share 8 common advanced English grammar mistakes that students make in my classes all the time. I'm going to show you a list of sentences. You need to read the sentences and try to spot the mistakes. Then I will explain what the mistakes are and how to fix them. 1. How did you spend your day? I have painted the lounge walls. I will finish painting them tomorrow. Where is the mistake? 2. I'm not going to the family gathering. There are several reasons for this. 3. Impressed by the colours in the artwork, the painting was bought for £500. Can you spot the mistake? 4. There were 12 students in the class. The student's teacher was called Molly. 5. The geography is easier to learn than science. 6. It's quieter on the train today. There are less people on the carriage. 7. I arrived late. The bus had been delayed when a traffic jam had happened. Can you see the mistake here? 8. A meal on Sunday was cooked by my uncle. How many mistakes did you spot? Perhaps you make some of these mistakes yourself. But what are they? Let's find out. So number 1 is here again. Did you spot the mistake? The mistake was have painted. Have painted is a grammar tense that we call the present perfect, and we use this when we speak about the past but with a present connection. Here we've used the present perfect simple. When we use the present perfect simple for activities, in other words, have or has followed by the past participle, this suggests completion of the activity. In other words, the activity is finished. But here, the activity is not complete. We know that because it says, I will finish painting them tomorrow. So, the present perfect continuous is better instead. How did you spend your day? I have been painting the lounge walls. I will finish them tomorrow. By saying, I have been painting, which is the present perfect continuous, we have to be followed by the ing form of the verb. We focus on the activity itself and not on completion. Here's some more examples. I have been running in a race. We can see the man is still running. I have run in a race. We can see the race has finished. I have been reading a book. She's still reading the book. I have read a book. The book is closed. The book is finished. Be aware that when you use the present perfect continuous, it is possible that the event or activity has finished. The point is that when we use the present perfect continuous, we focus on the activity. And when we use the present perfect simple, we focus on completion. Here's number 2. Did you spot the mistake here? The mistake was simply with the comma. I see this mistake all the time in writing, both with students who are not from an English background and with students who are from an English background. Why is this a mistake? Well, the problem here is that commas must be used with conjunctions when they join clauses. Here we have 2 different clauses. A clause is a group of words that have a subject and a verb. And here we have 2 sets of those. I'm not going is a subject and a verb. That's in the first clause. And there are is a subject and a verb in the second clause. We cannot simply connect them with commas without doing other things. And usually you need a conjunction. In other words, I'm not going to the family gathering and There are several reasons for this. Would be one way to connect the two clauses while still using a comma. Otherwise, a semicolon or a full stop is needed instead. Did you spot the mistake with number 3? The mistake was with the subject of the main clause, the painting. Why is this a mistake? Well, the subject of a participle phrase is normally the same as the subject of the main clause. Impressed by the colours in the artwork is the participle phrase. Impressed does not take tense. It is the past participle of the verb to impress. So it's a participle phrase. But what is the subject of impressed? And this is where the problem is. Because only people can be impressed by something, the subject in this sentence must also be a person. So we could have corrected in this way. Impressed by the colours in the artwork, the lady bought the painting for £500. And here the lady is the subject of bought the painting, and the lady is also the person who was impressed by the colours in the artwork. So now it makes sense. Here's some more examples using participle phrases. Excited about meeting friends, he got dressed in his best suit. He got dressed and he was excited. Surprised by the poor menu choices, they left the restaurant and looked for another. They left the restaurant, they were surprised. Can you think of another sentence that begins with a participle phrase? There were 12 students in the class. The student's teacher was called Molly. Can you spot the mistake here? The mistake is with the students, and it's to do with the apostrophe. Why is that? With possession for a plural noun, the apostrophe goes after the S. Here we have possession of the teacher. The teacher belonged to the students. But we know that there are 12 students, not 1. To show that there are many students and not just one, the apostrophe has to come after the S. With possession for a singular noun, the apostrophe goes before the S. One student's teacher was called Molly. There are some common exceptions to this rule. For example, plural nouns not ending in S, such as children's and people's, the apostrophe comes before the S. With personal pronouns, we don't use an apostrophe at all. And with its or its, in other words, it's with no apostrophe and it's with an apostrophe, we have to be careful because the possessive it has no apostrophe. It's with an apostrophe stands for it is. And this is an extremely common mistake, particularly with native speakers of English. So if you're not sure how to use its, remember if the apostrophe comes before the S, it's short for it is. Here's some more examples. My daughter's name is Sally. There's only one daughter, so the apostrophe is before the S. My son's name is Terry. There's only one son, so the apostrophe comes before the S. The worker's new office was luxurious. There are many workers, so the apostrophe comes after the S. Here's number 5. Did you spot the mistake? The mistake is the. Why is this a mistake? Well, geography is a general subject. It does not need an article in most circumstances. The only reason why we would use the in front of a subject noun, such as geography, is in examples such as these. If you add specific information, you can use the. For example, the best geography teacher. So here it's not geography in general, it's just the best. It's a specific use of geography. Also to show that it is unique in some way. For example, the geography of Iceland is different to any other island. So we're talking about something unique, which is to do with Iceland. Now, I've introduced this as an example of a mistake with an article, but actually I see mistakes with articles all the time in many different ways. If you're not sure how to use articles, then I suggest you find out more on my Advanced English Grammar course, as I have a whole section just for articles, and we go into great detail. This course is designed to address the mistakes that even advanced users of English commonly make. And articles is something that comes up so much, I have given 5 whole videos to it on this course. You can find a link to the course in the description below. Here's number 6. Did you see the mistake here? The mistake was with the word less. Or is it a mistake? This is controversial. Let me explain the common rules first. Normally, we use less with uncountable nouns. That means nouns that we cannot count, such as less water. We don't say 1 water, 2 water, 3 water. No, it's just water. It doesn't matter how small or big it is, it's water. The same with information or rice. And with words like these, we use less. We use fewer with countable nouns. Fewer people, fewer houses, fewer opportunities. All of these nouns can be counted. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. That's the general rule. However, people disagree on this rule, even in dictionaries. The Oxford Dictionary, for example, says people often use less with countable nouns, and this is not considered correct in standard English, and fewer should be used instead. That goes with what I showed you on the last page. But other dictionaries, such as the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, say this: less has been used to modify plural nouns since the days of King Alfred, which, if you know your history, is more than 1,000 years ago. So some people think it's okay to use less with countable nouns as well as uncountable nouns. So to be safe, follow this guide. Stick to the rules to make sure you are considered correct. That is, less for uncountables, fewer for countables, but be aware you may see variations on this rule. Here's number 7. Did you see the mistake here? The mistake was with had happened. Why is this a mistake? When adding a reason to a past perfect situation, return to the past simple if the reason happened at the same time. This is called economy of grammar. We don't overuse the past perfect form. After we use the past perfect once, if we can, we will return to the past simple. What we should say here is the bus had been delayed when a traffic jam happened. Past perfect and the reason in the past simple. Note though that when you're connecting 2 events with and, you can use the past perfect for both events. For example, look at the children in the picture. This is what they said afterwards. We were in trouble at school because we hadn't done our homework and we hadn't listened to the teacher. Here's the last one. Did you spot the mistake here? The mistake is with on Sunday. Notice that this is a passive form, was cooked by my uncle. And to understand why this mistake happens, we have to think about it in the active form first. When using the passive form, adverbial information stays at the end or start of a sentence. It does not stay with the noun. Adverbial information is information that describes the whole sentence, not a particular noun. On Sunday does not describe the meal. On Sunday describes the whole event, when the meal was cooked by the uncle. And in this situation, if it was an active sentence, we would say this: my uncle cooked a meal on Sunday. Then if we change it into the passive, where does on Sunday go? Well, it does not go with the meal. Meal goes to the start of the sentence because it was the object, and in the passive form it becomes the subject. On Sunday can stay at the end of the sentence, or it could even begin the sentence with a comma afterwards. However, information that defines a noun stays with the noun. So if we said this instead, my uncle cooked a meal containing rice. Containing rice describes the meal, not the whole situation. Here, containing rice stays with the noun it describes. A meal containing rice was cooked by my uncle. It moves with the noun when you convert it into the passive. How many of those mistakes did you spot? Did you spot all 8 of them? Or were there some mistakes that you weren't sure about either?